Asus is a well-known brand in the computer industry. They offer a wide range of products, including gaming laptops, which blend portability with great performance. I'll be taking a look at their newest offering, which I tested for a few days. The Gl502 is their first thin and light laptop, which features the high-end 970M GTX graphics card, and there is going to be a 980 version available sometime soon as well. I got mine with the 970M, obviously, and I got it from HID Evolution for around 2,000 bucks, since I got some upgrades as well. Let's talk about design. The best I would probably describe it is that it's a blend of the new G752 and the older G751 in a smaller and lighter chassis. The height of the case is just 2.3 centimeters, so it's quite slim. It's very light at 2.2 kilograms as well. It's got a brushed aluminum texture on the lid and around the keyboard, and it doesn't attract fingerprints too much, which is a plus. The design here is impressive. The lid is mostly made out of aluminum and has a narrow plastic stripe at the top. It's very thin as well. Surprisingly, it shows little flags when moving around and is very sturdy. The bezel around the 50.6-inch screen is quite thick, but it's smaller than on the G752. The bottom chassis is made out of good quality plastic, which doesn't feel cheap in any way. It will surely be able to dissipate heat more quickly and improve thermal results. Overall, the build quality of this laptop is very solid. Let's take a look at the specs. There's a 15.6 1920 by 1080 Full HD IPS matte type panel here, the Core i7-6670 HQ Skylake processor, GeForce 970M GTX with 3 gigs of memory, 16 gigs of RAM, which are upgradable up to 24, 256 gig Samsung 950 Pro PCIe SSD, and a 500 gig Samsung 850 SATA SSD. There's also a killer wireless card with Bluetooth 4.1. You can access the bottom hatch by removing a few screws, but keep in mind it's still going to be attached to the chassis and will require a little bit of force to take off. We have some impressive copper cooling system in here, which makes this laptop very comfortable to use, but more on that later. There's a SATA drive bay for storage, but you can also use the PCIe slot for even better performance. 8 gigs of RAM are soldered onto the other side of the motherboard, so you can only access one slot. And that gives you 24 gigs of RAM if you need to upgrade. I also recommend getting a killer wireless card upgrade. I had HID Evolution install it for me. The battery is non-removable, as in most laptops these days. The left side of the laptop features the charging, Ethernet, menu display, HDMI, USB 3.0 and USB 3.1 Type-C ports. It's worth noting that the USB Type-C port has 10 gigs of bandwidth, so you won't be able to connect it to an external graphics card. This isn't a problem by any means, as the 970M chip is pretty powerful anyway. The front has 3 LED lights, but they're not as disturbing as the ones in the MSI laptops. The right side of the laptop features a headphone microphone jack combo, 2 more USB 3.0 ports, an SD card reader and a Kensington unlock. The back of the laptop has 2 exhausts for the fans. The keyboard is chiclet style and features a numpad. The key travel is good, the keys are quite tactile, but the plastic that they're made of could be of better quality. It feels a bit cheaper than the one on the G752. The colored WASD keys could put off some people's as well. They are an unnecessary distraction, especially when typing. But overall, this is a very good keyboard. The trackpad is okay as well. It has a smooth texture and is accurate. The integrated keys click nicely and are okay when you're browsing the web or doing some basic computer stuff. An external mouse is a must-have for games anyway. The screen in the Gl502 is of very good quality. It's a matte Full HD IPS type panel from Samsung with wide viewing angles, high brightness and good color reproduction. I didn't observe any light bleeding, which is impressive knowing how thin the lid is. Overall, I like the display. The panel does not support G-Sync, but Optimus is enabled for increased battery life. Let's get into the drive performance results. So obviously both are very impressive, but the NVMe drive is obviously faster. This translates into excellent overall performance. Applications and games load very fast. Navigating through Windows is a pleasure. Benchmark results for the 970M put the Asus Gl502 on par with other laptops containing the same chip. It managed over 200 FPS on the highest settings in League of Legends, letting me kill bots very easily. The fans are very quiet when browsing the web and doing light tasks, but they do get quite loud when under load. Stress testing the CPU raised the temperatures to about 70 degrees Celsius, which is a very acceptable result. The cores operated at 3 GHz after 20 minutes of testing. The GPU results were very good as well, at 73 degrees Celsius. It showed no throttling, similar to the Intel CPU. Stressing both the CPU and GPU finally put some pressure on the system. The CPU temperatures rose to a maximum of 81 degrees Celsius and operated at a steady 2.8 GHz clock speed. The GPU temperatures was lower, but it throttled a bit. Keep in mind that these results are not an indication of what to expect of the laptop during everyday use though. When it comes to the speakers, they sound okay. They have some bass to them, but there's no dedicated subwoofer. They are loud enough though, and I can't hear any distortions even at the highest volume. So how comfortable is this laptop during intense user gaming? I must say the results are quite impressive. I checked the surface temperatures about after 10 minutes of stressing both the CPU and GPU at the same time. The area near the screen where the exhausts are located is obviously hot, but the rest stays very cool to the touch. Interestingly, you can feel cold air pushing through the keys. I haven't seen such an effective cooling system on a thin laptop like this so far. It's very impressive what Asus has done here. The battery life is quite good as well. The laptop lasts about 6 hours when browsing the web at half screen brightness. Okay, so would I recommend buying this laptop? There isn't a definite answer here. It seems that mobile Pascal GPUs are very close, so buying any kind of high-end machine isn't the wisest of choices if you want the best performance for your money. If I were to roll back half a year and do this review back then, I would strongly recommend this to anybody looking for an awesome gaming machine. Sure, the keyboard could be a little bit better, the speakers could use some bass, and 2 RAM slots should be available to the user for upgradability. But everything else about this machine feels very solid. The build quality is great, the screen is nice to look at, the cooling system is a marvel of engineering, keeping the thin chassis very cool even in the most demanding circumstances. It's a very solid offering, and much thought has been put into this machine. Remember that there's always the next big thing, so if you're into getting one of the best laptops available right now, then look no further and grab the Gl502 for yourself. You won't be disappointed. That's it for the review, guys. Thumbs up if you liked it. In case you have any questions that I might not have answered in my review, please let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you in my next review. Peace out.